Hey everybody, welcome to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with
Oberon.
And me, Banshee. Welcome to our monthly modality message. So this is the time we do the modalities of the Zodiac, and Mr. O will explain.
Yes, the modalities are not exactly the same as the elemental associations. There are only three modalities. They are cardinal, fixed, and mutable. And one of each elemental sign will be in those modalities. So those modalities have a specific kind of reordering of their qualities that will draw in any other elemental expression. What's up?
So we're going to start with the cardinal signs, my favorite signs, of course. They're very, they're the starters. They're the starters of everything. They're the initiators. They get things started. They're active, quick, drive, ambitious, vim, vigor, enthusiastic, a zest for life, clever, and they want to win. And who are they? They are the Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn signs of the Zodiac.
I'm so impressed.
But now let's talk about some negatives, shall we? Okay, we can be too domineering, we can be self-centered, we can forget about others as we focus on our own stuff, and we often don't finish what we start. So the cardinal signs are initiators. We start stuff. We just don't finish stuff. We leave that maybe up to somebody else. I don't know. But it's true. That part is very true. Right. Let's get going.
The first card. What is the primary focus for the Cardinals during the Scorpio season?
Wow. It's to heal from some serious pain, experienced maybe through a relationship that's troubled or maybe, has gone kaput. And it's time to move on. It's time to make some changes. But, the cardinal signs have to deal with the sorrow and let it go. It can be very hard, that part of it. Oftentimes we allow it to stay with us for too long. With the Three of Swords reversed, it's saying it really is time for you to think about letting this go.
So that is the primary focus for Cardinals. They may be trying to heal from a relationship or a situation that once was really loving or important to them, but now does not feel that way.
It could be a job. It could be, you were booted from a job unexpectedly. Whatever situation that would cause you some great sorrow. So, all right, card 2. That is the role your interactions with others may play in the month ahead, cardinal signs. Well, this is interesting. It's the Queen of Wands. So talk about a rebound here. It looks as though you are strutting your stuff in front of others. Maybe you're trying to showcase your talents and abilities. Once you've let go of what you have lost, you can move on and try to make new connections. Try to find that new job where you fit in. Try to get a new relationship going. I'm just a little concerned because I don't know how raw this is, and you don't want to just rebound into another relationship. Take your time and realize that as this month moves forward, you will attract people to you.
I think it's important that you mention that idea about the rebound because this card has a lot of energy that could lead, cardinal individuals to feel that, they are at the top of their game, and what better way to prove it than try to move on in a relationship or try to move on in a situation of some sort where maybe those tensions frayed. So the better points of this card are especially valid for cardinal signs to be themselves and to show and showcase their utter nobility and confidence in themselves and their charisma. Just don't get caught in the idea that beyond that there's anything else you have to prove.
Right, but I would say this is a good point. I would say this, I think you're out there showing others that that this wasn't the end for you. It may have been the end of something in your life, but it wasn't the end of you. It did not knock you down. You are still strong. You are still courageous, and you're going to go out there and you're going to make new connections.
Keep feeling fascination.
Card
Moving on.
Card 3. The opportunities or challenges you may face, cardinal signs, as in this period ahead. And by the way, we didn't mention this, but just a reminder: these readings are good for the entire Scorpio season. And by the way, happy birthday to the Scorpios out there. So
no, thank you.
The opportunities or challenges you may face in the month ahead, and how best can you achieve or tackle them? Well, it's a Tower reversed. Well, that's definitely a challenge, isn't it? It's so
realize what really didn't work and realize what the lessons were that you didn't learn.
Well, maybe, but also realize the challenges. It's a challenge here, is to make sure you're not going to make the same mistake twice. Bam. And I mean, I'm not saying that the situation was your fault, but, clearly something went wrong, and you're going to make sure whatever it is does not happen to you again. Maybe I should have said it that way instead of mistake. But, with this reversed, it's challenging. There's a possibility here for you to backstop, and you don't want to do that.
Very good.
All right.
Card 4.
How can you use your modality superpowers to best advantage this month? Ooh, it's the Fool reversed. Well, cardinal signs, I think it's your anti-superpowers. You move fast. You move really fast. But what this is saying is not to move so fast, to not take any unnecessary risks, to not to not just jump over that cliff into the next new thing. Take your time, assess situations, look at people more carefully, scrutinize what or who you're going to get involved with next.
I am vaguely or not reminded of that artist with the fuzzy head who always talks about, making the best of your mistakes, and then he does it on the screen. You know who I'm talking about. Is it Tim Ross or somebody?
Oh,
he's got the afro, and he always says, "That's a happy cloud." And
oh gosh.
And
you're making me forget his name, but at any rate,
I'm trying to remember his name. Anyway, that's who your comment reminds me of.
It's funny.
Putting a better face on some mistakes, perhaps.
And Sunny has joined us for the end of the cardinal sign. So let's just say this is about relationships or connections that were important to you that are now severed. And it's brought you sorrow. I'm not going to rule out that it's the loss of a person. And being that this is the time of the year where the veil is thin, you might be remembering somebody who has passed in this last year, and the sorrow's still holding. Maybe it's time now to bid farewell to the sorrow and honor their memory. And also with other things, it's time to let go of the pain of what you've been through, whether it's a loss of a job or relationship. So
just keep going through. I'm going to jump in when I need to.
Well, this one is clearly, be careful here. You want to go out there and show that this has not brought you to your knees, whatever this is. And you will attract people to you. You're going to go out and you're going to socialize. But let's not just jump into something and rebound. Let's make sure, that we're not just doing things artificially here. The Queen is very flamboyant, and the Queen is very loud and proud. And I think you want to show that. And you want to show a tough and a positive exterior now, but just be careful not to move too fast.
The Queen of Wands is in alignment with your positive values that we mentioned. Just don't get carried away with that.
Yeah. And then here, you know, again, there's an admonition here. The challenge you face in this month ahead is to not make this, you know, is to not, you know, repeat this cycle, not repeat what happened to you over and over again. Sometimes people get involved in, you know, dysfunctional relationships. They go for the wrong kind of person. Let's learn from this. Let's take in the lessons of what happened here and move forward in a more positive direction. And ultimately, this is saying, don't jump off that cliff without thinking things through first. Don't fall into the next relationship just because you miss having somebody around you, for example. Don't take any old job. Make sure it's worthy of you.
The full reverse wants to have an eye more towards the sense of what are unintended consequences and let that give him some guidance.
So good luck with that, Cardinal signs.
Good luck, Cardinals.
Wow. All right. Well, we are on the fixed signs.
I'll fix it in a minute.
The fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius.
Yes.
They have a lot of positives. They do. They're steady, they're stable, they're determined and resolute. They're self-reliant, they forge ahead. They calmly work on objectives.
They're loyal to those who deserve it.
Yes, they remember those who help them. They're persistent, concentrate. They have concentration. They're powerful yet purposeful. No wasted motions. But you know, with everything, there is a dark side.
My way or the highway. Tendency to get stuck in our ways. And we believe we're always right, aren't we? I thought that was settled.
Oh.
I thought that was settled law.
Well, talk to our president about that.
He's a Gemini.
There is no settled
He's a Gemini. He is not one of me.
Apparently, there's no settled law anymore.
Nope.
I don't mind seeing. All right. But since he's not a fixed sign, let's move on to the fixed signs here and see what's going on.
Right. Card 1. What is the primary focus for fixed signs this month, this season of Scorpio?
Well, so I so relate to this card somehow for you guys, the Six of Wands reversed. They feel they just don't get enough credit for what they do. They feel like nobody appreciates them. And I just can't understand why.
We might as well go and eat some worms, right?
So, you know, they feel underappreciated. And, you know, it might be valid. Maybe maybe other people have been getting bonuses at work and you have been bypassed for the things that you have been doing. Whatever the case may be. Maybe friends just look down on you, but let others, look at others who they think are more important and more valuable or more worthy of their time and attention. And you just kind of wonder, what does it take? What do I have to do? Right?
Let's just move on to card 2. You said it pretty well.
Did you? Did I? Are you sure you have nothing?
Yeah, I made a comment there.
All right.
Okay, so the role that your interactions with others may play in this month ahead.
Well, it's the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Bad news for the fixed signs here. I think others, you might feel that way too, that others are bringing you bad luck.
Maybe you're the third or fifth wheel.
Maybe.
The wheel metaphor.
It just seems like you can't seem to make connections this month. You might be trying to get together with people and your schedules conflict. Timing is just off, right? Isn't that a part of this?
Timing may be off. And, October pretty much begins, American festivities of various sorts through the end of the year. Timing may be off. It could also be saying, too, that your interactions with others, either to yourself or maybe their perception, is that you're not quite there. You're fumbling a little bit. You're misstepping, for whatever reasons that you might be. It could be a lack of confidence. It could be something else.
Card 3.
Card 3. The opportunities or challenges that you will face in the month ahead and how best you can succeed.
Now, I know this is a challenge for Scorpios.
Uh-oh.
It's the King of Swords reversed. Well, you know...
Someone needs smiting? Is that it?
The challenge here is to not exact revenge on people you feel are underappreciating you, people you can't connect with, and not to get angry and upset about it. You know, things happen sometimes. And maybe whatever's happening here, I'm just going to throw it out there, it could just be an oversight. So be sure your feelings are valid, you know, and even if they are, you don't want to act boorish, malicious, and nasty to people over this. Be bigger about this.
You know, we can't blame this on Mercury retrograde, but there is still a lot of good retrograde and various interactions in the heavens that indicate moods are changing, people are swinging opinions, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe some of this is rubbing off on the fixed signs for some reason.
It's kind of interesting because both readings right now, you know, the Cardinal and the fixed signs seem to focus on how we are relating to others. Yeah. So, how do you use your modality superpower?
Uh-oh.
Well,
fixed are gonna get the wagons.
It's the Ten of Wands upright. Well, you know,
by giving ourselves more to do.
I was going to say by whining about all the work you have to do.
That's not what that card says.
Well, you feel pretty burdened and overworked, you know? And so I feel here, you know, to be honest, and we're just teasing with each other, to be honest here, that the Six of Swords in this, Six of Wands in this is very interesting. This reverse, this upright. Because what it's indicating to me is, how can you use your superpowers? You know, you're steadfast and resolute and you do a lot of hard work. But if you feel that you have been pressured, that you keep putting out with nobody really recognizing what you're doing, maybe it's time to lighten that load. Maybe it's time to say enough. You know, I either need more help or I need better pay, right? Stand up for the hard work that you're doing.
I'm not going to exactly agree here because I think that maybe your superpower is saying sometimes when the going gets rough, you just kind of got to shovel in. And I think it's more than just, you know, the fixed signs who realize sometimes you have to put up or shut up.
So you're saying persist.
Persist, I think.
Okay, because that is one of your superpowers. I get that, and I do feel that.
I mean, I can feel what you're saying too, but I sort of feel like there's another option.
All right, so take your pick. Fixed signs. Good luck. Oh, well, we should go over this again. Yes, let's review it. So apparently, you know, there just seems to be a lack of support amongst, you know, your peers, your colleagues, your coworkers, maybe even friends and family. Maybe you do a lot for people and it's underappreciated. And, you know, you're feeling devalued. You're feeling devalued.
Wherever this is appearing, it's sort of like other people and maybe even yourself, you've elected to take a certain downtime. Some of this could be, you know, the national discontent of your country or our country.
And your connections with others are just missing the mark this time period during the Scorpio season. It just seems as though timing is off. No, you know, schedules are conflicting. People you're trying to contact aren't available. People you're trying to get together with aren't available.
Agreed. I can't add anything to that.
And so, well, the challenge you face is not to get, you know, not to let this get the better of you, not to overreact emotionally, not to get angry about this, not to act out in anger. I feel anger is a justified feeling under the circumstances, but you should not act out on that anger.
Right. This is an admonition. I think you said that the first time, that maybe certain decisions need to be handled with a cooler head and more reason and logic rather than the emotional thrust of that.
And ultimately, I'll go with the two ways here that we suggested, or you can bring yours up again. You know, I'd say here that it's time maybe to consider that, if you're doing so much and you're being underappreciated, you need to lighten the load a little bit and not feel guilty about that. But you go ahead.
Conversely, this could be saying now is put up or shut up time, and that maybe, sometimes you just have to do the dirty work to get to the other side.
Persist, and maybe someday people will feel grateful for what you do, right? That's sort of it. Maybe. Good luck with that. Fixed signs.
So now we're on the mutables.
And they have a whole lot of positives here. Let's just try to break it down a little bit by saying they're definitely people that go with the flow. They're highly diplomatic. They want to please people. They want to find middle ground. They can be like the chameleons. And the thing is, they can bend, they can bend any way they need to and they're very flexible people.
I agree with that mostly, but I think that the group dynamic also suggests that they may gravitate to where their spot should be. So I'm looking at you, Virgo, because you can be a team player.
We forgot to say, I'm sorry, that it is for Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces.
And see, and like I said, I think all of these are team player signs, but I think sometimes they want to gravitate to where they think they are most effective or where they belong. And so Virgo is a team player, but they want to be a team player that gets the final word in some instances.
The negatives, that's really not part of their negatives here, but I can see what you're saying. They do try too hard. They do try too hard to please everyone. And they can be wishy-washy, inconsistent, downright duplicitous at times. They can stretch themselves to the breaking point.
And that's not just the Virgos, that's the other ones too. But all of us have our positive and negatives. So let's focus. Hi, Sunny. He just popped in over there. Hey.
All right, the first card is... where am I? I'm sorry, I wasn't there.
The primary focus of the month ahead for the mutables.
For the mutables. And it's judgment. Upright. Well, maybe it's time to show your flexibility in recreating yourself or giving yourself a sort of makeover, whether it's a physical makeover, whether it's a spiritual makeover, whether it's a makeover of your beliefs, your attitudes, the way your lifestyle, how you live. This is a time to challenge. I think the primary focus is to challenge yourself to make some major renovations or changes in your life.
I think a lot of this too is based on the idea that maybe something arrives as an epiphany or as an awakening, or I could have had a V8 moment, the flashlight going off, the idea that something you realize becomes that focus for you to realize a new truth that can reorder what you're doing or reorder the month's activities and interactions at least.
I like that. And so card 2 is the role your interactions with others may play in the month ahead. And it's the 3 of Cups reversed. Well, it's interesting here. I hope you're not making this makeover to fit in with others because you feel others are not paying enough attention to you. They're maybe not supporting you in some way. And so you're trying to find a way to fit in. I hope that's not it. But I feel here that your connections with others are a little bit skewed in the month ahead. It seems as though there's just no joy, in your relationships with others this month.
Humbug. There's only 2 months till Christmas, and got to get into that spirit too.
Okay.
No, obviously this card suggests that there are some discontents going on. There are some feelings like maybe you don't feel really part of the crowd, whether it's the work crowd or whether it's your social circle or your family. There's just a sort of a sense that you don't feel as connected. And so maybe your interactions will be trying to reconnect you, or maybe you're going to pull away more. It's really up to you, I think, mutables.
It's interesting here. I might, when bring up something when we recap. Card 3, the opportunity or challenges you may face in the month ahead, and how best you can navigate them. Well, it's the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands is upright. Well, I think by putting your focus and energy on what's most important to you this month, I think, you know, that maybe it has to do with the changes that you are thinking of making. And maybe you shouldn't worry about how others are going to accept you or not.
I like that.
And so I feel here, this Eight of Wands is about communication. It's about a lot of communication, and it's about taking that energy and drive and putting it into your focus.
That focus that's coming from that card, it may have actually started concurrently with the original idea there, you know, the need to remake or to embrace something new. And so I feel that that's what your goals are, is to really look at this and say, this is what I should be doing. Avoid, you know, the personal downtime kind of stuff represented there, and just focus on what's important to you. What is your target? What do you know you have that energy for gain?
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, how can you use your modality superpowers to advantage this month? Well, this is so...
Another 8?
Yes, and this is so cool too, and it's upright. It's the Eight of Pentacles. You just need to keep working at it. Keep working towards the changes you want to make. Be the change you want to make. Work hard, you know, and you will see some positive results. And I think here, maybe people will respect that about you, that you are continuing down the road to making the changes you believe in.
Just as the Eight of Wands gives you, or can give you, that energy and focus you need, this Eight of Pentacles as your superpower is really saying, you know what the plans are. You know how things work, what the precisions are. You know how to use the tools. You've been an apprentice or a journeyman. You can make this manifestation happen. You mostly just have to use everything you've learned along the way for this month.
This is so interesting, and I really have a way I want to go through the cards, but you can interject. So when I look at Judgment here as the focus, and I spoke about these life changes, you know, I could almost see it involving things like maybe somebody coming out of the closet, you know, and explaining their sexuality now and coming clean about who they truly are. And maybe this is also about coming out of the closet in other ways, like, for example, changing political affiliations, for example, changing your beliefs, your deeply held religious and spiritual beliefs. You know, you decided to go from being agnostic to a Catholic, or a Catholic to
a
Muslim, whatever the case may be. So a major radical change. And you shouldn't worry about how this is being accepted by others, you know. Yes, you may lose some friends over these changes, whatever they are that you want to make. And so expect that there will be some blowback from this, from families, friends, maybe colleagues, peers, etc. Don't let that stop you. Do you need to interject?
No, I'm good.
And then the Eight of Wands here is saying the challenge is focusing yourself on this goal, you know, focusing yourself on this and not allowing, you know, anything to veer you from, you know, what you believe in. And ultimately here, keep working on this, keep being resolved to now follow this path and do the work of adhering to what you believe in.
Very good.
Do you like that?
I like that.
Wow, this is a really deep reading. And again, in its own way, it does kind of involve how others are going to, you know, you're going to be interacting with others on this.
Well, the mutables probably, you know, are good with that, because they either try to be people pleasers or they try to go along to get along.
Well, and their superpower is can change when necessary. And you feel this change is necessary, so you're going to put in the work to do it.
All right.
Good luck with that. Wow. That's what we have for everybody. For all the, for all the modalities of the zodiacs.
You know, the Scorpio season is the beginning of the fall season pretty much. And so with that comes the idea that there's less light, and maybe people may react to that in physical ways, feeling like they need to stay indoors more, not as open in other ways. So we hope you will get through this month of Scorpio well.
I consider this part of the season finter.
Sphincter? What?
Finter. F-I-N-T-E-R.
Oh,
because it's really the transition between fall and winter as things are getting colder and darker.
Gotcha.
Finter. But at any rate...
Which is like a sphincter. No.
Please edit that out. Just kidding. Look it. We want to wish Scorpios a very happy birthday season, and we want to also remind everybody that the readings again are good for the entire Scorpio season, and until the sun enters the sign of Sagittarius, we're signing off for now. Take care, everyone.
I'll see ya.